Call this meeting to order. If you'd please shut off your phones as far as ringing tone, I appreciate it. Also, if you'll stand and have a moment of silence for our service folks led by the Pledge of Allegiance afterwards by Councilman Vogelbeck.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. Nice chilly start of summer. Isn't summer about this cold sometimes?
In the southern hemisphere, somewhere south.
Yeah, so first item is public comment. Oh, yes, please, I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're fast.
He's ready.
Culpepper,
Here.
Redline,
Here.
Newcastle,
Here,
Kiesler.
Yeah.
Judd.
Here.
Nichols.
Here.
Rohrbeck.
Here. Present counted for. Public comment. Jody?
I'm Jody Frank, member of the Langsford Area Recreation Committee. Dear City Council, today I submit this letter as my resignation from the Langsford Area Recreation Committee. It was over 20 years ago when I was approached and asked to join LARC. At that time, the city was looking to get LARC back together to assist with park improvements, and the focus was updating the park plan and McClintock revitalization. In the beginning, it was Lori Strom, Paula Willoughby, and me working to update the park plan, restore visibility regarding the parks, organize and plan events. As we did this together, we moved forward on each phase of McClintock Park. Through the years, we kept striving for the third phase, the amphitheater. I've always felt what a wonderful addition this entertainment venue would be for our community. As we all are aware, since the building of this structure, we've had some frustration regarding the placement and heat issues. While the amphitheater is not what I had totally anticipated, I feel it is what we have and we need to move on. As the months have progressed, LARC's role in assisting the city with park improvements has changed. While LARC is not the final decision on any project, examples being the amphitheater, the potential shading, and the kayak launch, I felt that the input and value of the volunteer committee was important and valuable over the years. Times have changed, and for myself, I feel that the committee is no longer viewed as a valuable tool in decision-making by the city. And for that reason, I will be stepping down from LARC. This in turn will mean that after 15 years, I will no longer be organizing and running movies in the park. I am thankful for the time I've had on LARC and look at McClintock Park with pride that I had just a little part in making this happen.
Thank you. John, yeah.
Well, I just would like to speak to items 3, 6, and 7, or at least possibly speak to those. I don't know.
Well, you're in public comment right now.
Well,
That's on the agenda.
yeah, okay.
Is there anyone else? Yes.
Yes, I'm hoping that the rate of pay will be raised for the board of review. So I've been on it for several years and it stayed at $10 an hour, which with the new minimum wage after the first year, it's only 13 cents an hour above minimum wage. And Nikki, who is Shiawassee County assessor, said that $20 an hour would not be out of line. So that's what I'm asking about.
Anyone else? All right, we will move on to approval of minutes of November 1st, 2021.
So moved.
Comments have been no.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the minutes of November 1st, 2021. Any discussion? All right, no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by aye. Motion carried to approve the minutes. Treasurer's report, item number 2.
not set. Second.
Motion and a second to accept the treasurer's report. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by aye. All right, items of business. Item number 3. 120 West Renewal of Recreational Marijuana Facilities License. Mr. Liskey, I will listen to what you wanted to add to this or whatever it is, so we get a full thing here.
We're here to answer any questions. Apparently there's not a staff report, so I don't know what to respond to. So we're here to answer any questions.
Okay,
Mr. Daley Martin had written us November 12th saying that our application was complete. It's the only. So depending on what is said, I'd like to give a comment.
oh, certainly, I mean, it's
I'd like to make a motion to renew.
Second.
discussion. No discussion? All right. Good, roll call, please.
Rovak,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler. Yes. Redline,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Abstain.
Nichols,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. So motion carried to renew the recreational marijuana license facility.
Thank you.
All right. And now, do you have any other comments before we move on about that? Because I don't think council has any.
Nope.
Okay. I just want everybody to be happy and
Well,
Have no
we're
change.
Very grateful and we're doing all we can to give to the community.
okay. All right, item number 4 is the resolution 2113 to adopt the ordinance 02-2021 to amend charter 18 to add outdoor right-of-way use. Motion to approve the ordinance.
that.
David made the motion. Marcy made the second. Is there discussion? No discussion?
Rovak,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler. Yes. Newcastle,
Yes.
Redline.
Yep.
Culpepper.
Yes. Motion carried. Item number 5 is adopt resolution 2114 to amend excessive force policy. Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion?
Rovak,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler. Yes. Redline,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. Motion carried. Resolution adopted. Resolution number 6 on the agenda is 2115 to adopt a moratorium on marijuana-related activities. Does everyone know or understand what the moratorium does?
I do have some questions, but I don't know what that's.
Not to discussion. We haven't had a motion yet.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Discussion.
So I know before we had some resolutions and then later it was that there was some concerns. Who makes these resolutions in the verbiage?
Usually the attorneys,
The
a
attorneys?
lot of times.
So in our particular case, that would be our attorney that made this resolution?
I don't know if they actually made it or Paula did, or if Sparrow did,
It was a combination.
the consulting company.
So Sparrow is new, right? That's the new one that we're talking about? Okay. So so Paula, Sparrow, and the attorney did this verbiage? Okay. I was concerned that, I'm not a lawyer, And I guess getting this a few minutes before a council meeting, I feel like I need time to look at it.
Well, the packets were available Friday.
That wasn't,
But this wasn't, yeah.
I did not get that from Sparrow until late Friday. and
Oh.
Needed a lot of work.
We didn't get it until,
So it was not in the
6:45.
packet. There was stuff in the packet about Sparrow, but not.
Oh, okay, because I didn't say, I read it.
And I talked to the attorney this afternoon. I talked to Brian this afternoon. So, I mean, we've been kind of hammering this thing out all day, but. I mean,
So you've read it before today?
No,
Okay. you
I
just
haven't
just
read it,
now.
but I was in the meeting when this is all discussed.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to. Okay. So did the public get this?
It's not for the public.
Oh, it isn't?
No, it's for this city.
Okay.
That's
So
all
it's
it's
so are
for.
you
Not
concerned
privileged.
that we're not providing information to the
Well,
public?
I just know we're trying to be transparent and I just wondered if this wasn't in the.
And this is how we be transparent as we pass this resolution. Everything is out in the open. And nothing, everything's froze. That's the way it works.
I understand where it works. I was just
Okay, well,
asking.
I'm just saying that the bottom line of it is the transparency is it's as clear as day when it's explained to you that everything.
I kind of
stops.
think we're like extremely transparent. We put everything possible as soon as possible in the packet. And sometimes you guys don't even read the packet. And then when I don't get something in the packet because I'm working diligently to make sure it's correct, I'm criticized for not getting it out to the public. I don't know what you want from me, but
I'm not
I'm
trying
just
to-
letting
I'm
you,
just
I'm letting you know that I was working on this right up until the meeting. And then I had a meeting at 6 and one at 6:30. And when you emailed me, I told you it wasn't ready yet. And it would be available at city council. You didn't ask me any of those questions then. And so I could have answered all of these things.
I do understand on her part that I would have liked it earlier too, obviously, because I read it at this time. You did clarify to me information, what the gist of it was, and then we discussed it at the finance meeting. And that was good. But I understand what she's saying, like, it's just,
I would have liked
Us
to have
knowing
it
that.
earlier too,
I know,
but I didn't
yeah.
have it earlier.
There is a way that we can do this. I'm going to rescind the motion to adopt, and I am going to make a motion to table.
I second.
And we can, when you make a motion to table, it's not debatable. You vote on it. And then you have the right to make a motion to remove from the table at any subsequent meeting.
So we have a motion and a second. Discussion.
there shouldn't be discussion, right?
Right. Well, it says you can't. but-
Well,
You got it.
and that can be allowed, and I just, let me say that, from what I understand of this, right now, we're in this place where we wait until the referendum, which is what we voted to do, to let the voters decide.
So that's the June.
You also haven't explained that we have been approached by another party,
Exactly,
that we did the wrong
Right.
thing.
right.
So
So what this.
you guys need to hire somebody that knows how to handle this, because
There's a lot of-
apparently
there's
it's
a lot
not
of
me.
stuff.
So what this
I
will
don't think
do,
anybody does.
what this will do, and you can have time to review it, is limits the liability for the city because we're placing it into moratorium. We're not saying yes, and we're not saying no. We're not making a decision because we allowed the voters to make that decision. And if in fact there is a conflict here between the city ordinance and the MRTMA in Michigan about the requirement of the number of the percentage number of registered voters required for a petition. And if MRTMA is right, we're good, it's going to referendum. If the ordinance is right, then we need a few more signatures and it'll still go to referendum. In the meantime, we've got lawyers breathing down our neck. So if we place this into moratorium, we haven't said yes, and we haven't said no. We've said, hold on. We're going to pump the brakes a little bit here and figure out exactly how we do this right. And what is right? What we already voted on. Let the voters decide, but how does it get there? And what's our exposure as a city during that period of time? That's what this does, is place a more, in my understanding, I'm not a lawyer either, but that's what this does, is that in the interim, you can't say that we've said no, and you can't say that we've said yes. We're placing a moratorium on this action item for now until June of 2022.
November.
If at which time in June, this council feels it necessary to extend, if we still haven't gotten the proper answers about number of signatures required to take it to referendum, I'm sure that we will have that information by then, but let's say that we don't, you can still extend the moratorium probably until the second week in November, I would think, after the voters have spoken.
So if anyone were to have asked me, I would have let them know that the law does not encourage you to have a moratorium for any longer than 6 months.
Yeah, if we're gonna do a moratorium for a year and a half, and the judge
And do
will
nothing.
say, why?
As long as you're taking action to try and fix something, you can do a moratorium which protects the city, but maybe that's not what this council wants to do.
And what it does is it actually protects you from any lawsuits from either side.
Really, you can
until
always
that's
get a
done.
lawsuit.
Yeah, but it's still, it's passed to that side, but
I'm not necessarily saying I'm against this idea.
So then
I
she's
just-
criticizing me for not getting it out. to
No,
the public.
what I'm
No,
saying is,
no.
I
I'd
don't
like
think
some
it's
kind
you.
of
It was
discussion.
clear.
No, I don't think that was that. I think it was, we all wish that we would have had it sooner and.
Well,
And I
I
wished
didn't even
I
have a
would have
clue
had
we were
it
doing
sooner.
it, I guess.
Yeah,
That's why it was on the agenda, and you can always call me when you see an agenda item.
well, let's move past this. We all agree that we would have all loved to have it sooner, but.
So is this on
circumstances
the
we couldn't
table
have.
or?
What's on-
It's
what
been
is on the
tabled.
table is a motion to table.
I don't want to table. I want to
Well,
go, I want to
we'll
move
vote.
forward with it.
we'll
Well,
vote.
then
Yeah, I
you
wanna
vote
vote.
on the motion to table.
Ready for vote.
You want a roll call on
Yeah.
tabling it?
Yeah, I want it recorded that way.
Rotabeck? This
No.
is yes or no to table,
I
correct?
don't want to.
Right.
No.
Judd,
Yes.
Kiesler,
Yes.
Culpepper,
No,
Redline,
No, I made a motion.
Ducastle,
No.
Nichols.
No,
Okay, so the motion to table has failed. We're back to the regular order.
Okay. Motion to approve resolution 2115.
now we have a motion and a second discussion.
We beat that one up.
Yeah, so roll call again, please.
Can I, I'm not adding more to this or that. Can I
We
add
had
just a little
discussion
more?
out in the audience too.
I want to say as a planning commission member that I think that was where the biggest issue lied, was when we had the public hearing and then we had the site plan review come into this is pausing that, so we won't have that issue again. So we won't, why are you guys still, entertaining these things? But this is saying we're not gonna entertain them, we're just pausing it for a minute, we're just gonna chill. And so.
And the reason
that's
this
why-
took so long is when it came to me, it didn't handle the zoning end.
Right.
And I felt that it was imperative that if the city council already took action to handle the licensing, that didn't stop the zoning. So we were constantly we're getting phone calls every day, we're getting emails every day about somebody who wants to come in and open a business.
So I would like to say, I agree with it. I do support it but at the same time, I see where she's coming from and that if, if other people wanted to know, none of us knew, but it's okay. We know, and it is what it is. and we're here.
Well, it doesn't affect John at all anyway.
No,
It's
I know,
just-
but
So
just
my
anybody in
question is,
general.
you know,
just-
can nothing come to the table that wasn't already in the packet or online? Is that what you're telling me?
No,
Is that what you're asking for?
Well, I would think that what we're discussing, the public should see it, and if they had questions, then they would have an opportunity to come and
So we've
ask them.
never talked about anything at this table that wasn't put out on the internet as a packet for the public. to
That's
get.
happened a lot of times in the past. Sometimes we get last minute information and that's why they call it last minute information. Sometimes we just have to deal with it.
Well, I need guidance if that is a problem, that, you know,
You guys are probably gonna get bored of me, but I'm gonna start reading paragraph 4. That's the real meat and potatoes of the resolution. So let's read through this. And whereas a referendary petition was submitted on October 4th, 2021 to the city clerk with 60 signatures requesting we, the undersigned, qualified and registered electors, residents in the 4th Congressional District in the state of Michigan respectively petition for an amendment to ordinance blah, 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 located in blah, 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 to reduce the number of marijuana retailer permits from 2 to 1 permit. Everybody caught up? We all know what this was. Mr. Liskey and his representation, they submitted the 60 signatures to reduce the number of permits from 2 to 1. Okay. Let's see. Ordinance 02/2019, Chapter 18, Article 6, Commercial Marijuana Facilities, Division 2, Recreational Section 18-317A, permit required general provisions for certification on October 4th, 2021, for which the city certified the petition as valid under the 2018 Regulation and Tax Marijuana Act, which cites a 5% signature threshold for petition certification. Any questions on that? That means he submitted. Remember when we held those up and said, what if these are good? We certified those petitions and those signatures pending review of the validity of the signatures. Okay, so that's what we've done. And the Regulation and Tax Marijuana Act cited a 5% signature threshold for petition certification. So they got their 5% under that state law. And whereas the city charter, Part 1, Chapter 8, legislation, page 3, presents a more restrictive signature threshold for referendary petitions. Quote, an initiatory or referendary petition shall be signed by not less than 15% of the registered electors of the city as of the date of the filing of the petition, and all signatures on said petition shall be obtained within 20 days before the date of filing the petition with the clerk. So we've got one document, state law, saying 5%. We have one city ordinance saying 15%. We need to figure out if state law trumps ordinance or if ordinance trumps state law. That I think is probably the first question.
Yeah, that was the one I circled.
All right, I'm just reading here. You guys chime in at
so
any.
far, all of this information you
moment.
guys have had many times.
Okay, and whereas in the light of the city's authority to regulate medical and recreational use marijuana land uses through zoning ordinance, the city desires to consider the best way to address medical and recreational use zoning in a manner consistent with Michigan law to protect public health, safety, and welfare of the city residents. And whereas this imposing a moratorium on a limited temporary basis, let me read that again. And whereas imposing a moratorium on a limited temporary basis is reasonable and necessary to allow time for review of and potential amendments or additions to the city of Laingsburg ordinances, including the consideration of conflicting thresholds for voter signatures related to a referendary petition certified by the clerk on October 14th, 2021, concerning land uses and the number of licenses related to medical and recreational use marijuana establishments. All that's saying is give us some time to figure out who's right and who's wrong here. And whereas the city is thoroughly reviewing election procedure and referendary, petition considerations, consulting with the city and the county board of canvassers to determine the appropriate threshold for a valid referendary petition, either through the city's more restrictive charter or the 2018 Michigan Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana Act. In other words, we're going to see who wins, 15 or 5. And whereas the city is committed to a timely review of the referendary petition considerations of both the city charter and the 2018 blah, blah, and their impact on potential business operations in the city. So we're giving you all the whereas these conditions exist, and we don't know the answers yet. So we're going to pump the brakes. And whereas, the last whereas, and whereas this moratorium will expire on June 6, 2022, unless extended by vote of council, no licenses for additional medical recreational use establishments will be issued until the city is able to bring the referendary petition certification discussion in front of either the city board of canvassers and or the county board of canvassers for consideration of the validity of the referendary petition certified by the city clerk. In other words, that language ain't going nowhere until we know that we've got enough signatures to get it on the ballot based on the 5% or based on the 15%. Now, therefore, be it resolved.
That's where I have the question. So if we don't have enough signatures based on that, then what happens?
They
People
just
get
go
more.
They just go get more. So they're allowed to go get more. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's not a done deal.
Now, therefore, be it resolved, here's the resolution by the mayor and council. The city of Langsberg will enter into a moratorium on the issuance of both medical and recreational use establishment licenses, special land use permits, and site plan applications until the city is able to determine the validity of the signature thresholds expected of the city and the county board of canvassers as it relates to conflicting state and local statutes. The moratorium will be lifted by the city no later than June 6, 2022, unless the issue is not resolved and requires an extension. The city council directs the city clerk to consult with the city and the county board of canvassers through an open and transparent public dialogue to present the circumstances surrounding the validity of the referendary petition in question and report back to the city council with their findings and not issue any new licenses or process any special land use and site plan review applications until this matter is resolved.
So if
Yeah,
there is
let me repeat that.
so if there is a extension, how is that handled?
If we don't have an answer by June 6, 2022, we will have a vote to extend
I see.
the resolution unto a certain time frame, because we're not going to extend it indefinitely. I'm just talking here. I'm just a member of council. But it would be my position that we would be able to extend this for a specific period of time, probably after the election. But we will have an answer by then because the election will include language. It's not a hard question. What wins, 15 or 5?
But this
Usually the
really,
more restrictive.
but the majority of what we're asking here is to freeze the processing of
Mhm.
any applications to prevent planning commission from having to deal with anymore.
Yep.
That's what we're asking for. You're hung up on the signatures, you're hung up on all that. That's not the meat of this. But that is what, we're also
Well,
gonna be talking about. But what the big thing is that this does is it makes it so if somebody walks in here and brings me an application for site plan review at this moment, what city council has left me with. When they closed the window for licensing, they left open the window for planning commission. That is not my fault. All I am trying to do is close that window so that the planning commission no longer has to accept those
It
applications.
gives you a good solid answer.
That's correct. When someone calls me, when someone emails me, it gives me the opportunity to tell them, we can't do this right now. We have a moratorium.
Well,
That is
that's-
what we're looking for.
that's just,
All of that other stuff
that's
in
just
there,
extra work for you. We don't care about that.
that's true.
That's a
That's
joke.
true.
That's
And
a
then,
joke.
and then
That's a
after that, I'm
joke.
gonna need some rules on how I do my job. So,
So this also limits liability. It gives us an off ramp.
and I'm sorry, this all happened at the last minute and I didn't have time to call every single council member and brief them because I had no idea I was supposed to be doing that.
This limits liability, fixes the problem until we get an answer.
That was helpful, Brian.
It's all about the protection of the city. That's what it boils down to, no matter which way you want to cut it up and read it, it's still the protection of the city. And it keeps every one of us off of somebody's paperwork for the time being.
So we have a motion and second on the floor.
Mhm.
I'm ready for
Roll
vote.
call.
Rhoda,
Yes.
do we know what we're voting on?
We're voting
Yeah,
on-
we're voting on the
Just
adoption,
making sure.
the adoption of resolution number 2115.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Redline,
Still got a few questions. No, yeah.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. Motion carried. Moratorium is passed. Number 7, proposal to engage Sparrow Council consultant, excuse me.
I make a motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to engage Sparrow Counseling for consulting. I don't know why I keep saying council. I need it, that's why.
That's the same one.
We are not entering into a contract with them. We are entering into a consulting agreement with billable hours. If we need them, we call them. If we don't pay them anything.
My question was that finance, like, what is this for? What are they for? And it was just clear cut. They know more about how to handle the stuff and we're just going to them when we need them. and-
They just actually have some background in the cannabis side that will be helpful to me. And I can rely on them. to
And they're
help
not a
us.
lawyer, they're just.
They're not
consultant.
lawyers. They do have a lawyer on their team. We have Burlingame, but I mean, it's been a struggle for me with both sides coming after us, or me, whatever you want to call it. And so,
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the recommendation from finance is to enter into the agreement, the consulting agreement. This is not our retainer. This is not a monthly fee. This is simply when we pick up the phone, the clock starts ticking on billable hours.
and we can
But-
change the agreement if you guys
Yeah,
want it a different
but-
way, but right now
But
it's,
if you call MML, they're gonna hang up on you. If you call pretty much anybody in the state that's a municipality, they're gonna shrug their shoulders like Perry and says, hey, we're in this stuff hot. Our water is hotter than yours is right now. We don't know what to do. So that's why Finance Committee is recommending the adoption of the consulting agreement.
and one of the first things she wants to do is have like a work session and educate the city council on what's happening, what our options are.
Looking at her area of expertise, I'm down for letting her teach me some stuff.
This is
It's
a very
all
educational
pretty
meeting.
full right
And if she
there.
doesn't work out, it costs us $100.
Yeah,
And when we met initially, I can't meet with more than 3 council people without having a meeting, so I had the mayor pro tem, the city attorney, myself, and Connie.
And her husband was there too, they work as partners. And I do believe they're very educated on it.
Well, they were the ones that suggested the moratorium. I had no off ramp. Now we got.
Okay,
We still don't know this is the right thing to do. We're just
No, we don't.
tired of chasing our tail and hoping that this helps us.
and unfortunately, no pun intended to you, John, but most lawyers don't know nothing about what you ask them questions right now. So you understand that, so.
I understand, and I think this is well written.
All right, we need to vote on this. don't we? It's that time, huh?
Don't apologize for starting.
Ugh, Give me a mercy.
All right, you ready?
Sorry.
Are you ready?
Ready for vote?
We're voting to hire Cheryl Consulting.
Yep.
Rotabeck,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler. Fredline.
Yep.
Newcastle.
Yes.
Mitchell.
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. Motion pass, motion carried. Item number 8 is scheduled public hearing on special assessment roll. We want to do that next month.
Yeah. Yeah, we would just have the public hearing there. It's just for that one lawn mowing.
Right.
The only way I can get it put on the taxes is to do this.
Do this.
So motion to schedule.
I
public
second.
hearing.
Motion and a second.
Public hearing to be scheduled at the beginning of the next council meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Now let you skip that
All right,
one.
give me some break.
Yeah, all right, item number 9. Planning Commission intent to renew Jeff Geisler.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
You need to change his ringtone.
Agreed, second.
All right. We want to vote on this as
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by aye. Motion carried for Mr. Kiesler. Item number 10, Planning Commission intent to renew Richard Freidenberg.
I motion.
Motion and support, discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by aye. Motion carried to renew Richards. Item number 11 is Board of Review intent to renew Linda Culpepper.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those otherwise. Okay. Motion carried. And I didn't vote. All right, number 12, replace battery charger for main lift station.
Second.
Motion and second to replace the battery charger. Any discussion?
All right, I'm rested up now.
Okay,
Rotabeck,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Fredline,
Yes.
Newcastle.
Yes.
Mitchell.
Yes.
Culpepper.
yes. All right, we are down to the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to pay the bills.
Another one.
Yes, please.
Rotabeck,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler. Yes. Fredline,
Yes.
Newcastle.
Yes.
Mitchell.
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. Motion carried. Committee reports, item number 14.
I'll start with zoning.
All right, go.
It was our first meeting in 3 years, so. it was fun.
CBA.
Or ZBA, I'm sorry. ZBA meeting. We had 3 items of business, 3 different people come in. 2 of them wanted to construct a second driveway, which did not line up with the ordinance, so we denied. And the 3rd wanted to construct an addition over their home, and according to where their house was, we approved it. Just
Well, that driveway looked like they already put it down, it looks like to me. I drove by there to check
one
out
of
the
them,
address.
yeah, they already did put it in, so
So now they gotta
We'll
tear it
take-
out and
steps for that. Yeah. Now it's on the Dan. And then the other one, he doesn't know what he's gonna do, so he may come.
is that the one from Williams to High Street or something? What was that one?
Yeah,
Is that the one for the driveway or the pole barn or something?
Yeah.
Where is it? Where exactly is that?
Right
Okay.
next to the old house that's for sale, right across from the school, right there.
Across from
Pope's
the
old
parking
house.
lot,
Like
so
right behind the old Emerson house, like on the other side.
You know where Pope's live?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Sounds like,
But they wanted an extra driveway or way around, and
oh,
the
got ya.
complication was if it was two pieces of property, they could have it if they were living on this one, and
I
or
got
if he
you.
was gonna conjoin them, then
basically.
why would we allow two for him? And it was just kind of
Okay,
a
got ya.
tricky situation.
That's why I was reading it going.
So the
It
house
was-
is a
yeah.
rental house and they wanted to build the barn for, not for our.
For his
but their
work.
Personal use.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Hmm.
so.
I said, you just live in the barn.
Needs to build a shelf.
Shells.
Yes.
We
Build
should
the barn for the
So
winter
he's-
people, then you
yeah.
can do it, right?
Right, but it wanted a second driveway.
It
on
was
the
a
other
very
street.
long discussion and it was, yeah, talked till it died,
So if
so.
there was someone building a home there, we would allow the driveway. But
Yeah.
The way the zoning ordinance works. it
He's
doesn't
putting them
allow.
together and we only allow one, so. So there's that. And we did not have a planning commission meeting, so.
Okay. Well, thank you. I see the library is there.
So October's meeting, the library is beginning to be steady, business wise. We are looking into having Science Live, hopefully this summer to bring, I guess it sounds like they're bringing animals and stuff out here, so we're looking at doing that. There was some folks donated anonymously to the library. The Friends of the Court updated their 501c. But we are having some talk about someone to kind of take the head of that Friends of the Library situation. So that there was some talk about that. We also are having problems getting enough members to come to the meetings to have a quorum. So we're trying to look at options of what we might be able to do in that aspect too. And that was October. November, there was quite a few people that were sick and we couldn't meet, and there wasn't enough of those that we couldn't do it with, so we didn't have a November meeting.
Okay, thank you. You did the appeals. So, DPW, fire?
No, police had a really slow month. Got 16 reports and 24 traffic stops, 19 tickets or 19 traffic warnings. So I guess we were going easy on them because of Christmas. So now what's going on in the police department this month? LSW, we had 26 calls for the month, year to date, and 165 for ambulance, and on the fire side, we had 52 for the month, and year to date was 492. Also, fire department's looking into purchasing a new tanker truck. So we're looking at exploring financing on it, and hopefully we'll figure something out next month as far as ordering it, getting it coming.
All right, did we miss anyone? DPW,
We didn't meet.
okay,
Finance, Matt, no action.
okay.
So Lark didn't meet, but I would like to say that I would like to thank Jody for all her services.
Me too.
And I'm sorry to see her go. I've walked beside her for lots of years with music. Just would like to say that I'm sorry that you decided to do that, but I understand.
Other items?
Yeah, just a question about that. If for music in the park, we're hiring a promoter.
Oh, I just gave her a card.
I know.
For reference.
I know, but if people do this and get paid for it. I'm just saying, Jody, may present a proposal to council I put volunteering for it.
Do I speak?
You can.
So that's not me. I have not
Okay.
done this for the last 20 years to get payment. Would money be nice? Yes, but that's not who I am. I did movies in the park because it was a good thing. It was good promotion for the park, but the time has come that I need to be done. It had nothing to do with pay.
Okay, I appreciate that.
No, that's not, I'm totally about giving back and that's what I've done and I feel good about that.
When you say promoter, we're hiring a promoter, who are you talking about?
Just
Whoever,
in general.
Well, I was talking in general, but I gave you a card talking about a promoter that can bring bands in, impersonators, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
That's what Brian was referring to.
We
Oh,
may
I
have-
thought this was a person that we could hire to play at Music in the Park. This
Well, it
a-
is, but he also has that agency with every one of those band people that has impersonators and stuff. So you need to call and talk to him and he can tell you more. Because I just bought his vehicle and he started, when he found out we had an
Promoting.
amphitheater in the park and everything, he used to have to hand out cards, of course. And he's up in Frankenmuth right now as Santa, but he plays all summer long up on Frankenmuth up on the street.
Huh.
His name is Tommy Bale. Mhm.
My other is, how should we proceed with Greg's request? 'Cause I don't know. I don't know how we go about this.
What is the scope of time that is required for board of review members? So 3 days?
It's like 3 days a year
2 days, twice a year,
and it's a,
9 to 3 and then 3 to 9, so.
He's setting for 6 hours basically or something like
Is
that.
this
the tax
review?
yeah,
2 days. I mean, they can do whatever they want while
it's
they're here. unless
3
somebody's
days and
scheduled.
then.
Yeah, but the,
hours
what's the number on the committee? Is it 5 people,
3.
4 people, 3
3.
people? 3 people?
3 as far as I know. Right?
It was 3 or 4 when I was
I
on it.
would think it's 4.
Your wife was in
There was 4 when I was on it,
Yeah,
it.
Um,
and then I became a
council.
council
member.
member. so I could-
Let's, I'd like to request that as an action item for the next council to discuss.
What would you like in the packet regarding it?
The request and just put together what they're currently paid and what the scope of their work is and how many of them. No requests or anything, just it'll be an action, it'll be an agenda item to discuss. Compensation for public review board.
So we'll see
Please.
that there.
You know, once again, I'm just one guy, you know,
Yeah,
if
I don't know.
if anybody,
Finance, so I can
Yeah,
assume
we-
we'll have a recommendation from finance on it.
yeah. Without objection.
I wonder when the last time it was set.
At the same time, the city council wages was set probably 100 years ago.
Let's just switch them all
It's
then.
kind of ironic.
I
Because
can
when you
tell
talk
you
about
we don't
20
have-
bucks an hour,
We don't
ain't
have very
nobody in
many
this
people
room that makes that money. Huh?
We don't have very
You're gonna
many
review
people on
one,
staff
Brian, you
that
might
make
as well review them
$20.
all.
No, $20 an hour as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned,
well-
is ridiculous.
Our
You know,
police
did it-
department doesn't think that.
No,
Right.
But it's definitely something that we can discuss and we do want to figure out
well,
something.
in honor of Jody, we don't do it for the money either.
Yeah. Anything else? Paul, you have anything?
We do need a member for ZBA. So what happened was so Gina was on ZBA and Marcy was on planning committee. And then Dina got elected, so she could no longer be, we couldn't have, we couldn't have
I
two
had to go
people.
out board review.
No, we
and
couldn't
then I
have
had
two
to-
people on planning committee, so we moved Marcy off planning committee.
Sorry, Marcy.
But that, so then, but you were on the ZBA and her on the ZBA, you can't have two city council people on the ZBA.
I
So
screwed it all up.
it just kind of left us and then they never met and we just, I guess we kind of thought we were fine until we got a call for looking at it and we were like, we got an issue. We need another person for CBA.
And we still need them.
Yeah.
So,
And it is, it's okay to have someone from council on ZBA and someone from planning commission on ZBA. So you right now represent both.
Right.
So so taking her off wouldn't fix it. It would create another problem. Right?
Right.
So we actually need someone for ZBA.
Put me in coach.
But we can't have two.
Right, we can't have two
So you
council people.
can't.
on
That's what we're looking at.
ZBA. So,
I know.
and that is all in the rules.
Can
and the
you-
and
charter.
it's just amazing how many people think that we don't have any
Can
rules.
you
That's
have-
that's our website, correct? So that anybody like from the city get on our website or wherever and say that, hey, we're looking for that position to be filled, is on there, correct? So we should hopefully maybe get someone else.
Well, we need people to ask somebody, I think.
I have a question, because I don't know, sorry. Like if Jeff were, could we both, if we were on planning and, I'm just.
I don't
just
think you can
asking
have
in
two
general,
people
like two
from
and two.
planning, right?
Okay, got it. I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
I'll go look at it.
No, I don't think you can have two people from, I think it's one
I
from
want to be the
planning,
chair on it.
one from council.
And careful, because ZDA has a lot of power. And you can piss a lot of people off too.
Certainly can piss them off.
So you need somebody that, yeah, is able to make a decision, let's just put that.
Well, it's not an easy decision sometimes.
No, they're not at all.
Ask
Even
Tina, that was-
the,
that was-
even the last one wasn't easy. It was like a simple task and it was
never-
hard just to be like, no, I'm sorry.
It's never simple. You think it's simple, it's even harder yet.
Yeah.
And then sometimes when you say yes, then you set precedents for something else, and
Yeah.
you have to be careful about that. So
So they have to live in the city.
I'd have to look at the list,
A
but
list of-
so we have the list of who can be on, the statute says how many and where they're from or whatever, so.
Sorry for screwing it all up.
Yeah, it's all your fault.
It
Uh-huh.
was Mary, right? She's the one who left.
That's
No,
right.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but guess who appoints people?
I. Yes.
So before we meet the ZBA again in 3 years, we need to hopefully,
Figure it
right?
out.
We need somebody
But we do
hopefully.
need someone on the ZBA, so.
Right, is there anything else?
Anybody knows we got new trees in the park?
I did.
I found out earlier.
The 3 trees
I
were
found out
moved.
earlier too.
I think it was it Thursday?
On time and under budget.
What they didn't have a sewer.
It was Thursday.
It
That's
was
why I was,
Thursday.
yeah, because I wasn't here. They were sending me pictures.
I'll have to make a drive by, look at it, I guess in the daylight, and it's not dark out.
We're hoping they're still standing after the wind.
Yeah,
Oh.
the guy did a good job. I mean, replaced them and everything, was, you can't hardly tell they've even been planning.
Huh.
So hopefully they make it, and that was a really good deal, so.
Good phone call.
If they don't, we go get some more.
We have them back there, so.
So that price.
Got another 10 or 15 to pick from. And then in case none of you, read the Argus or have been following what's going on in Peoria, they have in their own woes with their charter amendment and referendum, so. It's not just us that, people just don't know how to handle some of these things, and our staff, their staff, that's not what we're here for. We
It's all
wanna,
new.
build parks and take sewer payments and, write grants and help people, but
Embrace the
but in the meantime, we're calling lawyers and calling, special people to help us do things that we're not equipped to do.
I wondered about that because I had, I'll get the Argus that pops up on my phone. I'll read the whole article, but portions of it. I was like, oh, this ain't cool. And this is when it started, I don't know, a few meetings ago. And I'm like, ooh, they're gonna find out too. What
Well,
we're
theirs was
kinda
a
going
charter
through.
amendment and it's just medical. But they went through all of this, had to call attorneys, didn't know either. And then they basically, put it on the ballot. I guess right at the last minute, finally, that was it. It's going on the ballot and now it's going to court. The ballot passed by 8 votes and that was to add marijuana. And because they had opted out completely.
Most
So
of them are.
even
for
if you
that.
think you're doing the right thing, it just doesn't matter. So,
There's more laws than one law.
Welcome to small municipalities.
My motion to adjourn.
for a game or something.
No.
Yeah, there's Monday Night Football somewhere.
Well, we're still under others.
For dinosaurs roaming.
No, if there's no, the chief,
The only thing I wanted to add, that David mentioned is the, fire department is looking at, purchasing a new tanker. The reason we're looking at it now is if we were to order it now, it's still gonna take 2 years before we could even take possession of it. So that's why, we're looking at replacing a tanker out of Station 3, which is in Victor Township. So that's why we're looking at it now.
is it locked in when you order it? If it's gonna
Correct,
take
the
2
prices
years?
is, because also, as you know, the prices keep jumping 7 to 10% each year, so. That's the only thing I.
Okay, well, thank you.
The new tanker will do a lot more than the old tanker will.
Oh, I'm sure, you know, on the high technology.
We definitely need that.
I'll listen to that motion. You want
There.
to adjourn?